Ethan Caldwell had built his life the way he built his companies: clean, sharp, and ruthless. He didn't just become wealthy, he became a headline. A white American billionaire CEO with a perfect jawline for magazine covers and a name that moved markets. From the outside, everything about Ethan screamed victory. The glass-walled penthouse in downtown Los Angeles, the private drivers, the black SUVs, the security detail that followed him like shadows. But Ethan's pride, his real pride, wasn't the money. It was the fact that he had left Lauren. Lauren Harper Caldwell, now simply Lauren Harper, had once been the only person who could calm the storm in him. Before the investors, before the boardrooms, before the suits and microphones, there had been late-night dinners in a tiny rented apartment in West L.A., 2 cheap plates from a thrift store, and Lauren laughing as she tried to turn struggle into something that didn't feel like drowning. Back then, Ethan promised her everything. Then the money came. And the money changed him. The divorce had been ugly, not because they fought loudly, but because Ethan did what Ethan always did. He made it clinical. Cold papers. A silent lawyer. A settlement that looked generous on paper, but felt like a goodbye with a signature. Lauren took the settlement and disappeared. No interviews. No posts. No tell-all. She didn't even try to ruin him the way people expected a billionaire's ex-wife to. That silence irritated Ethan more than anger ever could. Now, 2 years later, Ethan stood in the mirror of his Beverly Hills estate, adjusting the cuff of his tailored tuxedo. The wedding was in 3 weeks. The new bride was everything the tabloids called perfect. Veronica Hayes, a white American socialite with a smile like polished glass, born into old money and trained to win every room she entered. Veronica looked up from her phone and leaned against the doorway, her engagement ring catching the light. "Are you nervous?" she asked, voice sweet. Ethan smirked. "I don't do nervous." Veronica crossed the room, smoothing the lapel of his jacket like she owned the future already. "The guest list is insane. Senators, celebrities, venture capital kings. You're turning this into a global event." "That's the point," Ethan said calmly. "It's not just a wedding. It's a statement." Veronica's eyes flicked toward the table where invitations lay stacked in perfect order. Gold foil. Thick paper. A scent so expensive it barely felt real. Then she saw one name. Lauren Harper. Veronica's hand paused mid-smooth. "You're inviting her?" Ethan didn't blink. "Yes." "Why?" Veronica asked, still smiling, but now the smile had edges. Ethan walked over to the table, picked up Lauren's invitation, and turned it slowly between his fingers. The paper was heavy. The name was printed like a verdict. "So she can see," he said. "So she can finally understand what she walked away from." Veronica's laughter was quick and light. "Oh, Ethan, that's cruel." "It's honest," Ethan replied. "She left when life got hard. She'll watch me marry someone who matches the life I built." Veronica watched him carefully. "And what if she doesn't come?" Ethan's smile deepened. "She'll come." Because Ethan had made sure she would. He didn't send the invitation to a random address. He sent it to the one place she couldn't ignore, her office, delivered by a private courier who asked for her signature. Not just an invitation, but a message. "I can still reach you any time I want." 3 days later, Lauren sat alone in a quiet cafe in Santa Monica, staring at the envelope like it was a snake that had learned her name. She looked different now. Not broken. Not poor. Just controlled. Her hair was neatly styled, her outfit simple but elegant, like someone who didn't need to announce strength. Her friend Mia Parker slid into the seat across from her, eyes immediately landing on the gold envelope. "No," Mia said. Lauren didn't answer. Mia leaned closer. "Is that Ethan Caldwell?" Lauren finally opened it and read the line that mattered most. "You are cordially invited to the wedding of Ethan Caldwell and Veronica Hayes." Below it was the date, the location, and the part that stung like a smile. Your presence would be appreciated. Lauren exhaled slowly. He wants an audience. Mia's face tightened. Lauren, don't go. Lauren's eyes stayed on the invitation. If I don't go, he wins. He'll tell himself I was too ashamed. Mia reached across the table. Why do you care what he tells himself? Lauren's lips curled slightly, but there was no humor in it. Because Ethan has always believed he gets to write the ending. Outside, the ocean wind moved through the palms. Inside, Lauren sat still, letting the memory of Ethan's voice echo in her head, the voice that once whispered promises and later signed the divorce like a business deal. She folded the invitation, slid it back into the envelope, and stood up. I'm going, she said. Mia stared. To get humiliated? Lauren's gaze was calm, almost distant. No. Mia waited. Lauren's voice dropped to something steady and dangerous. To end it. That night, Ethan sat in his office overlooking the city lights, swirling a glass of whiskey. His security chief, Marcus Reed, stepped in quietly. She received it, Marcus reported. Ethan's smile returned. Good. Marcus hesitated. Do you want us to monitor? No, Ethan cut in smooth. Let her come however she wants. Let her walk into the room and remember what she lost. He leaned back, watching Los Angeles glow beneath him like a kingdom. And somewhere across the city, Lauren Harper looked at the same skyline and made a decision Ethan could not predict. Not because she was planning revenge, but because she was no longer the woman he divorced. And Ethan, for the first time in years, was about to invite the wrong person to the wrong place. The day of the wedding arrived like a movie premiere. Beverly Hills was sealed off in sections around the Caldwell private estate, an enormous hillside property with a long driveway lined by white roses, crystal lanterns, and security guards in black suits. The venue wasn't just elegant, it was designed to intimidate. Every detail screamed, "You are small compared to this." Luxury cars rolled in like waves, Bentleys, Maybachs, Rolls-Royces. Cameras flashed. Influencers adjusted their poses. Business magnates greeted one another with smiles that cost more than most people's salaries. Inside, the ballroom glowed under chandeliers that looked like frozen waterfalls. The aisle was white marble. The chairs were wrapped in silk. A string quartet played softly as if the air itself was expensive. Ethan moved through it all like a king inspecting his palace. Veronica clung to his arm, radiant in a custom gown, her makeup flawless, her smile photogenic. "Everything is perfect," Veronica whispered. Ethan glanced around. Almost. Veronica knew exactly what he meant. Lauren. The guests were already talking about her like she was entertainment. "Do you think she'll show?" one woman whispered. "She probably can't even afford the dress code," another answered with a laugh. A man in a navy suit smirked. Ethan's savage for inviting her. But it's classic Caldwell. Veronica laughed softly, feeding the gossip like it was dessert. Ethan watched the crowd and kept his expression composed, but his mind was sharp, calculating. He imagined Lauren walking in alone, her posture tense, her eyes scanning the room, realizing she didn't belong anymore. He imagined the silence, the pity, the shame. Then he imagined himself offering a polite, cruel smile. "I invited you so you could see what you walked away from." He had rehearsed that line in his head like a closing statement. A groomsman approached. "Ethan, the ceremony starts in 20 minutes. Ethan nodded. "Good." Veronica checked her phone. "The live stream numbers are insane. This is trending already." Ethan's lips curved slightly. "Let them watch." The front gates were monitored by drones and guards. Every guest had to pass a check, names confirmed, invitations scanned. No one could enter without approval. This wasn't just a wedding. It was a controlled environment. And Ethan had built it that way. As the guests settled, the music shifted, and sunlight poured through the glass walls, painting the room gold. But Ethan kept glancing toward the entrance, waiting for the moment that mattered most. Lauren's arrival. Outside the estate, down the winding road, Lauren sat in the back seat of a sleek black SUV. Her face was calm, her posture straight. She wore a deep red dress, not revealing, not flashy, just powerful. Her hair was styled in soft waves. Her makeup was clean and understated, the kind that didn't beg for attention but still stole it. In the seat beside her was a man. White American. Mid-40s. Tall. Calm. Wearing a dark suit that looked custom-made without screaming luxury. His name was Adrian Cross. And in the world Ethan lived in, Adrian's name carried weight that didn't need explanation. Adrian didn't speak loudly. He didn't move nervously. He had the stillness of someone who could buy silence and sell storms. In the front seats were two more men, professional security, earpieces in, eyes sharp, hands ready. Lauren stared ahead through the tinted glass. Mia's voice echoed from earlier. "Don't go." Lauren had only answered, "I have to." Adrian's voice was quiet beside her. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Lauren didn't look at him. "He invited me." Adrian studied her. "And you're giving him exactly what he wants." Lauren's lips curved slightly. "No. He thinks he's inviting the woman he left behind." She finally turned, meeting Adrian's eyes. "But she doesn't exist anymore." Adrian's gaze softened, just a fraction. "Then let's go remind him." The SUV convoy reached the gates. 4 black vehicles. Silent engines. Perfect timing. The guards stiffened as the cars rolled in. They weren't on the expected list. A guard stepped forward, hand raised. "This is a private event." The driver lowered the window just enough to speak. "Lauren Harper. Invitation confirmed." The guard hesitated, checked his tablet. "Lauren Harper." The name flashed green. Allowed. The guard stepped back instantly, suddenly nervous. Because even he could feel it, this wasn't a normal arrival. The gates opened. As the SUVs climbed the driveway, guests near the glass walls turned, noticing the convoy. Whispering began again, but this time it was different, uncertain, tense. Ethan, inside, saw the movement through the windows. He straightened. Veronica followed his gaze. "Is that her?" Ethan's jaw tightened slightly. "Looks like she decided to show up." Veronica smirked. "Good. Let the show begin." The convoy stopped at the entrance. 2 security men stepped out first, scanning. Then the back door opened. Lauren stepped out. The air shifted. People stopped talking mid-sentence, because Lauren didn't walk like someone arriving to be shamed. She walked like someone arriving to reclaim space. Then Adrian Cross stepped out beside her. A ripple went through the crowd like electricity. Because some of the men in that room, real power, old money, corporate kings, recognized Adrian instantly. And when the powerful recognize someone more powerful, they don't whisper. They go silent. Lauren and Adrian moved toward the doors. Bodyguards on either side, not aggressive, just present. Inside, Ethan watched, and for the first time that day, his confidence flickered, not fear, but confusion. This wasn't the picture he'd painted. This wasn't the broken ex-wife. Veronica's smile froze slightly. "Who is that with her?" Ethan didn't answer at first. Because deep down, he already knew something was wrong. The doors opened. Lauren stepped into the ballroom like a quiet storm. Every eye locked onto her. And Ethan, standing at the front of the room with his future wife beside him, felt something unfamiliar in his chest. Not anger. Not jealousy. A sharp, sinking realization. He had planned the humiliation. But he had not planned the reversal. Lauren walked forward slowly, heels clicking against marble. The sound carried through the ballroom because no one was speaking. Even the string quartet, sensing the tension, lowered their music into something barely alive. Ethan's groomsmen stared like they'd forgotten how to blink. Guests leaned forward, hungry, confused, suddenly uncertain which story they were watching. Lauren's red dress wasn't a statement of seduction, it was a statement of strength. Her posture was calm. Her face unreadable. Adrian Cross walked at her side like a shadow with a crown. They stopped a respectful distance from the aisle. Lauren looked up at Ethan. Ethan forced a smile, The one he used on investors when he wanted them to feel honored. "Lauren," he said, voice smooth, just loud enough for the room. "You actually came." Lauren's eyes didn't soften. "You invited me." Veronica stepped forward slightly, her smile tight. "We weren't sure you'd feel comfortable." Lauren's gaze slid to Veronica like a blade wrapped in silk. "Comfortable isn't why I'm here." A small murmur tried to rise, but died quickly. Ethan straightened, trying to regain control. He held his chin high. "I didn't think you'd miss it," he said. "This is a big day." Lauren nodded once. "It is." Ethan let his smirk return. "I'm glad you came to see it. I wanted you to witness what life looks like when you don't walk away." There it was. The line Ethan had rehearsed. The cruelty he had polished until it sounded like confidence. A few guests chuckled nervously, expecting Lauren to shrink, to flinch, to crack. But Lauren didn't. She simply inhaled and stepped forward one pace. "I didn't come to see what life looks like for you," she said evenly. "I came to see what it looks like for me." The room tightened. Ethan's smile faltered for half a second. "And what exactly is that supposed to mean?" Lauren didn't answer immediately. Instead, she turned slightly and looked at Adrian. Adrian's expression didn't change, but his presence filled the room like gravity. Lauren faced the guests, her voice calm and clear. "You all know Ethan as a billionaire," she said. "As a winner." Some heads nodded cautiously. Lauren continued. "And you know me as his ex-wife, the woman he left behind." Veronica's smile sharpened. "Is this really the time?" Lauren cut her off without raising her voice. "You'll get your time." Veronica froze, shocked not by the words, but by the way Lauren delivered them, like command. Lauren looked back to Ethan. "You invited me to shame me." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "That's not true." Lauren smiled slightly, the kind of smile that didn't ask permission. "It is. But I understand why. You needed proof that leaving me was the right decision." A wave of whispers rolled through the crowd. Ethan stepped forward, voice colder. "Lauren, you're a guest. Don't disrespect." Lauren lifted a hand, stopping him. The room went dead silent. Ethan stopped moving, shocked by the audacity, by the fact that he obeyed. Lauren's voice remained steady. "2 years ago, you divorced me like a business deal. You didn't look me in the eye. You didn't apologize. You just signed the papers and walked away." Ethan's jaw flexed. "You took the settlement." Lauren nodded. "Yes. And I used it exactly the way you thought I wouldn't." She turned slightly toward Adrian again. Adrian reached into his jacket and pulled out a slim folder. Not dramatic. Not theatrical. Just final. He handed it to Lauren. Lauren held it up, not for the cameras, but for Ethan. "This," she said, "is the acquisition agreement for Harper MedTech." Several people stiffened. Because Harper MedTech was a company everyone in that room had heard of, new, fast-rising, extremely profitable. It had been quietly buying hospitals, medical patents, and research firms across the country. Somebody whispered, "That company is worth." Another voice cut in, "It's valued at billions." Ethan's face tightened. "Why are you holding that?" Lauren's eyes didn't leave him. "Because I built it." Veronica laughed sharply, forcing confidence. "That's impossible." Lauren looked at Veronica. "It's not." Then she delivered the final turn, the one Ethan hadn't seen coming. "And Adrian Cross," Lauren said, motioning calmly, "is not my escort. He's my partner, my investor, and as of last month, my fiancé." The room erupted into shocked gasps. Veronica's face went pale. "Fiancé?" Ethan stared like his brain refused to accept what his eyes were seeing. Adrian Cross, international tycoon, tech and real estate giant, a man rumored to be richer than Ethan, stood beside Lauren like the future had chosen her. Lauren continued softly, dangerously. "I didn't come to beg. I didn't come to cry. I didn't come to remember what I lost." She stepped closer, only 2 paces away from Ethan now. "I came," she said, "because you wanted me to feel small." Ethan's voice came out tight. So what is this? Revenge? Lauren shook her head slowly. No. She leaned in just enough for him to hear her clearly. This is closure. Then she straightened and raised her voice slightly for the room. Ethan, she said, I want to congratulate you. Confusion flickered across faces. Lauren continued. You taught me something I needed to learn. That love isn't enough when respect is missing. A few guests shifted, uncomfortable now. Veronica's eyes darted around, searching for support, but the crowd had already turned into spectators for Lauren's victory. Ethan tried to regain control. You can't come in here and... Lauren cut him off again, calm as sunrise. I can. You invited me. That line landed like a hammer. Lauren turned to the guests. Enjoy the wedding, she said. I truly hope it's everything you deserve. Then she looked at Ethan one last time. Not with anger. With nothing. And that nothing was worse than hate. Adrian offered his arm. Lauren took it. They began walking away, slow and controlled, the bodyguards opening space around them without touching anyone. As they reached the doorway, Ethan called out, voice cracking just enough to reveal the wound. Lauren. She paused, just for a second. Ethan swallowed. Was any of it real? What we had? Lauren didn't turn around. Her voice drifted back over her shoulder, calm and final. It was real, she said. Until you made it a transaction. Then she left. The doors closed behind her. And inside the ballroom, Ethan Caldwell stood at his own wedding like a man who had just been defeated without a fight. The wedding never recovered. People tried to pretend it did. The string quartet played louder. The officiant cleared his throat. Veronica forced her smile back into place like makeup. But the damage had already been done. Not because Lauren had shouted or caused chaos. Because Lauren had walked in, stood tall, and revealed that Ethan's attempt to shame her had failed so completely it turned into his humiliation instead. Ethan felt it in the air, those subtle shifts wealthy people make when they sense a change in status. The men who had once clapped him on the back now spoke to him like he was temporary. The women who had admired Veronica now stared at her dress like it was suddenly cheap. Veronica's grip on Ethan's arm tightened until it hurt. Fix this, she whispered through her smile. Ethan's eyes stayed on the doors Lauren had walked through. The officiant began. We are gathered here today. Veronica leaned closer. Ethan, look at me. He didn't. Ethan, she hissed, you're humiliating me. Ethan finally turned to her, and Veronica flinched slightly at what she saw in his face. It wasn't rage. It was emptiness. A billionaire who had always known the next move, suddenly stuck with no move at all. The ceremony continued like a performance nobody believed in anymore. When it was time for vows, Veronica's voice shook. Ethan's sounded memorized. When the guests clapped, it felt like pity. At the reception, Veronica tried to salvage the night with laughter and photos, but the gossip moved faster than champagne. She came with Adrian Cross. He looked like he owned the place. Did you see Ethan's face? Lauren didn't even raise her voice. That's power. Even the live-stream chat, watched by thousands, had shifted. At midnight, the wedding ended early. People claimed they had flights, meetings, emergencies. In reality, they had one goal: leave before they were caught in the wrong narrative. Veronica finally snapped when the last big donors walked out. She slammed her glass down in the bridal suite. You still love her? Ethan didn't respond. Veronica laughed, sharp and broken. You invited her to destroy her, and she destroyed you. That's what happened, right? Ethan's voice came out low. She didn't destroy me. Veronica's eyes widened. Then what is this? Ethan stared at his hands like he didn't recognize them. It's me realizing I never understood her. Veronica stepped forward, fury rising. So I'm just the replacement? The trophy? Ethan finally looked up. No, Veronica. But his tone had no comfort. Veronica's lips trembled with rage. Then why did you do it? Why invite her? Ethan didn't answer. Because the real answer was too ugly. He invited Lauren because he wanted to feel above her. and she arrived as proof that she had climbed higher without him. Veronica backed away, disgusted. I can't marry a man who's still haunted by his ex-wife. Ethan's jaw tightened. We're already married. Veronica stared at him like he was a stranger. Then she pulled off her ring and placed it on the table. Not for long, she said. And she walked out. Ethan didn't chase her. He couldn't. Because all he could see was Lauren walking away with Adrian Cross, calm, untouched, victorious. Across town, Lauren stood on a modern glass balcony overlooking Los Angeles, the city lights sparkling like scattered diamonds. Adrian stepped beside her, offering a quiet presence. No speeches. No bragging. Just the kind of man who didn't need to prove anything. Lauren breathed in the night air. Mia stood nearby, arms crossed, still stunned. I can't believe you did that. Lauren's lips curved slightly. I didn't do anything. Mia stared. Lauren, you walked into the lion's den and came out wearing the crown. Lauren's gaze stayed on the skyline. I didn't go there to win. Mia blinked. Then why? Lauren's voice softened, but remained firm. Because I didn't want him holding that moment over my life. The idea that he could call me back just to watch me bleed. Adrian nodded slowly. And now? Lauren exhaled. Now it's done. Mia laughed quietly. He's probably losing his mind. Lauren paused, and for the first time, there was a trace of old sadness in her expression, not for Ethan, but for the version of herself that had once loved him. I hope he learns, Lauren said. But it's not my job anymore. Adrian offered his hand. You're free. Lauren took it. For a moment, the silence between them wasn't heavy, it was clean. Then Lauren turned slightly, looking at Adrian with a calm certainty. I didn't come back to prove I'm better than him, she said. Adrian watched her closely. Lauren continued, I came back to prove I'm not who he thought I was. Adrian's mouth curved in a rare smile. And did you? Lauren looked out at Los Angeles again, at the skyline, the roads, the lights, the endless motion. Yes, she said. She didn't say it loudly. She didn't say it proudly. She said it like a fact. Somewhere in Beverly Hills, Ethan Caldwell sat alone in an empty bridal suite, the ring on the table, the laughter gone, the cameras off. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like a billionaire. He felt like a man who had mistaken control for strength. And Lauren? Lauren walked back inside, leaving the balcony, leaving the past behind her. Not with revenge. With dignity. With a new life. And with the quiet kind of power that no wedding, no matter how expensive, could ever buy.